Hey guys, I'm Jessie, and today I want to walk you through the naming and the concept of my new record and how I came up with the name and what the name stands for. And I'm also going to show you the album cover of that new release. I personally find it very fascinating to hear other people's creative process, so this might be interesting for you as well. So far, I've released 2 solo albums. The first one was called Villainess, and the second one was called Warrior. As soon as I'd done Villainous, I already had this idea of 3 albums and that they together would form this arc of a story. Because somehow I do see that every album is a continuum of where I was before and where I am now. So the triple album idea that was always on the back of my mind was this idea of a maiden, mother, crone. Maiden is the young hopeful without a care in the world, and then mother is the responsible, that mother taking care of everything basically, and then crone being that been there, done that, now really solid in myself and in my vision. That was the arc that I always had in my mind, so I started thinking, what's the right name for this third album? I'll take you a few steps back, how this process, what it looked like, and why the album covers and the themes of the albums were that they were before. Villainess was my first solo album. I was so excited about making music again. I wrote all the songs myself. I programmed everything myself. It really was a solo album. Overall, the whole spirit when I was doing this album was this place of excitement and joy and a new start. And I was just able to do things my way. And it was a declaration of independence. That was really the theme. One of the songs was called Villainess, and I felt that whole spirit of the Disney Villainess was really fitting for the album. Because in Disney movies, if you think about it, the villainess is the unmarried woman. She's the one in power. She has money. She has hunchmen and dragons instead of all the Disney princesses who are locked in towers, abused by everyone, sleeping, and just waiting for somebody to come and rescue them. When I went to do the photo shoot, my photographer actually came up with this headgear. His wife made it just for the shoot. And I just thought it looked really iconic. So that became the look for the Villainous album cover. And I'm smiling in it. It's not serious. I'm looking up somewhere out there into the future, and I'm excited and I'm smiling. It really encompassed the whole spirit and the whole process of making Villainous. Warrior, on the other hand, was quite a different story. I wrote the songs during the pandemic. We were all in lockdown. It was 2 years of just being in the house. It felt really weird. It felt like we were in this post-apocalyptic, weird, crazy world. So the theme of the Warrior was that I was feeling battle-worn but determined to protect my family and believe in the future. But the whole theme of the album was quite post-apocalyptic. So when I went to the photo shoot and when I was planning the album cover, came from that sort of post-apocalyptic warrior theme. So then when I started thinking about the new album, I wanted this to be heavier, more epic. The tempo is a little bit slower and the vocals are just a bit grander. That was kind of the tone of the album, following up from that maiden, mother, crone path. Initially, the album was about growing into your own power, being in total control, being that grown-up person who knows what they are about and is operating from that place of total vision. So I started looking for the name for the album. And I was really struggling because there are not that many words in our language that would really capture that kind of a woman. You know, all of it is quite like the crone, which is like old lady, or a witch, or a boss lady, or something like that, which are quite cheesy. And I just felt that nothing was really grand that would have that gravitas that I was looking for. The only word that I sort of then went with was Empress. And for a while I thought that the album was going to be called Empress. And I started looking for that visual look for my Empress. So I was playing around with the imagery and I was thinking this quite solid, definitely showing my age. I was really happy with these images actually. I wanted to go with quite regal, gold, black, crimson, red. And somehow I was still feeling like this is not it. Like, I really like this, but I don't really feel like this is my album. I don't really feel like that's actually what I feel like right now. And I feel like I'm trying to follow a system that I've created in my head rather than what are really the themes that I have been going through while doing this. So I ditched the Empress. This has been a really experimental project. AI has been really the theme in our world during the making of this album. Just like pandemic was the thing that was happening in the world when I was doing Warrior, AI has been really dominating all the conversations. There's a lot of hype out there. AI is going to be the solution to any human problems. Meanwhile, there's also a lot of fear mongering going on. AI is going to become the super intelligence which is going to take over the world, and we're all going to be made obsolete. And I feel that this conversation has been really loud. Is AI going to be our future and our savior, or is it going to be our demise? And a lot of these tools as well that I've been using when creating this album have been just literally been released. So I really felt like for me this was a project that was a total exploration, entering the unknown. So the name of the album became Voyager. It is about exploration, entering the unknown. It's about curiosity. It's about embracing the change. And it's about feeling the fear and still doing it. Voyager really brings together the whole process of making this album and all the themes that are happening in the world at the moment, and really how I'm feeling about it as well. And here is the album cover. This is Voyager. She is a traveler of past and present and going into the future, and she has all her mementos of her travels and of humanity surrounding her. And in one hand, she holds the globe, which represents the opportunity and the excitement of the future. And on the other hand, she's holding a black skull, which represents that threat and dark side of AI. And she's balancing them both in her hands. But of course, the optimism and the hope and the excitement for the future is winning. Another thing that I'm going to be doing a little bit different is the release and the release schedule. Voyager marks the beginning of a new way of working. By the way, Voyager is not a full-length album. It is a 6-track EP. My firm plan was to create a full-length album, but after I finished these 6 songs, I felt that this whole way of working just feels really old-fashioned and slow and wrong. Voyager as an album is going to be released in May. I'm still planning on doing it as a CD, but I've already released 2 singles, Sinfire and Hopium, and I have 4 more tracks going on to this EP. And I'm going to be releasing all of those tracks in the lead up to that May EP release. So in January, you will get No Fate. And then I have a single coming up in February, March and April, and then Voyager in May. That's how I'm going to be working, at least for now. And then I'll see what happens next. Yeah. Also, to anybody asking, no, I do not play live. I love playing live, don't get me wrong, but it's a whole different ball game. I'm sorry about that, but hopefully instead of that, you are going to see more releases and cool stuff coming out instead. I hope you enjoyed that little journey into my creative process. I want to invite you to follow along in 3 different spaces where I'm really focusing my efforts on. Pop over to patreon.com/JessieFrey and follow me there. I will only be posting my art, my creative work, my music, and all that stuff in my Patreon. And then I am also creating more stuff for my YouTube channel. So here I will be releasing my music and music videos like I always have, but I'm creating more of these behind the scenes videos where I share what I'm doing as I'm doing it. Some of it might even be a bit more like tutorials. So if you want to follow along, go to YouTube and you can find me at Jessie Frey Music. And finally, if you're a fellow musician and you're interested in exploring AI and how you can use it in your art or music, I have started a school group. It's a community of musicians exploring AI, and I'm also creating more tutorials on the specific tools that I use, how I use them, and in general how I create anything that I create with AI. All the links are below. Thanks for joining me today. I can't wait to get Voyager out to you. Until then, bye.